Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the local pundit, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I've just been thrown under the bus by this guy. He said he was going to start the show, and he's just put me up there. I love it.
Happy birthday. Everyone, we got to sing happy birthday to Ken. There we go, the local Kendit. Awesome. Happy birthday. There you go. I did throw him under the bus. That is all me. Yes. Anyway, welcome to the local pundit. That is Ken, our local Aussie there. Big breakfast club, because we got 6 of us in here today. Six goons coming at you, and we got 1 blue. So we're going to bring them all in. We got Aaron, we got John, we got Patty, and we got Welsh Techie in the house. And look, all of us fit in there. That is a beautiful day. I love it. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Who's gonna kick off the serenade to Ken for the happy birthday?
Happy birthday
to you. Pebble happy city. Pebble happy city. Ken. Pebble happy city.
Anymore. What is he? 75? How old?
On that note, here's the card that I got.
Sold?
So old.
It's so good. I love it. That was horrible singing. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Just told it was his birthday. That's very good. How's everyone doing? We'll do a round table real quick. Just an introduction, obviously. Ken, Aaron, and Techie, and John, Patty, what's up? Let's kick it off.
We're going to go around? Okay, well, look, yes, it was my birthday. Well, technically, it's today for you guys. It was yesterday for me. Went out to an unbelievable Japanese restaurant last night for dinner. Had a great time. Also, some great news on the results, but we're going to get into all that. So, hello, everybody. Let's have a cracker show.
Let's go. Yeah. Aaron, who's in Iowa?
No. In Indiana. Jeez, these people.
Yeah. We named the dog Indiana.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
No, I'm doing good. Good. Awesome. Good results today. Good. Everything's doing good. Yeah.
Do you have any dreams about O'Connell? I'm going to do my best to quarterback this tonight. Shoot the rehearsal. It's gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna be fun. I promise you. Patty's in the house. What's going on, brother? It looks like that lettuce is growing out pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I keep hiding it with my headphones.
Wow.
I still haven't done my Stephen Fletcher man bun. I have to do that soon.
No, you haven't. Oh, please, God. John, I know you're a big fan of the lettuce, especially Fletcher's for that matter.
Don't get me started on that. Really don't. I'm just jealous because it's going a bit thin. That's really all it is.
Yeah, exactly. And Jackie, how you doing? Everything all right in your end?
Yeah, great. Yeah, just I'm exhausted today because I did the live event last night because I have my own production company, so I did the sound for them last night and did the recording. So and that's in North Wales, and I live in South Wales, so I didn't get home till 4 a.m. this morning. So I'm pretty goosed, to be honest, from that point of view. But yeah, apart from that, and then I spent the rest of the afternoon editing it so I can get it back to them because they wanna get it to the video guys because they videoed it as well. So yeah, all good.
Top man, there you go. I love it. Well, let's go out of order to F everything up. As you know, why don't we do this? Let's talk about what happened last night at the FID event. You want to give us a rundown of that? And I know, Patty, I think you put a nice little summary of it, but you were on there. I think Matt was with you too. Give us a little shout out what happened last night, and then we can dive into the results today.
I don't want to give too much away because obviously the Fearless Boys will be releasing it on their pod, so I don't want to give too many of the details away because it'll be on there. But I'll happily give you my thoughts. Yeah. First time I met Michael Williamson, although I didn't meet him in person, he didn't introduce himself to me personally. Obviously, just saw him as part of the event itself. He's very much a politician. Let me put it that way. He says the right things that you would want to hear, but with very little actual substance or promises or guarantees or things like that. And there was very much a case of, there were no questions. So I was about maybe 160, 170 people in there. No questions from the audience. We didn't have a roving mic. They didn't allow one. The questions were fairly soft. They weren't any kind of really hard questions where they were pressing for particular answers. Yep. He answered all the questions, and it seemed quite open. But some of it was kind of a bit misunderstood. There were some questions about the fan zone, and his take was more, "Yeah, we're sorry it was called a fan zone." Didn't really quite get the reason why fans were upset was the fact they had to pay an extra £10 and had no choice. So I think it was things like that. There were some bits in there which obviously some of it is on social media. Student flats are not good. They're not going to do anything with the student flats. They're going to stay with the university. But he has regular meetings with the new vice chancellor of the university, so they are in negotiations for futures. So if they do need to look at land, particularly for the new COP, obviously they have to talk to the university about that. So there are open communications from that point of view. Interesting one for most of you guys is they talked about, the question came up about shirt sponsors and whether our shirt sponsor will be Macron next year. Didn't give anything away with regards to whether they would or they wouldn't, but went into quite a big spiel about how the shirt was important, that it represented the club. It also represented the nation. So when Wrexham went and played in England, it had a Welsh feel about it, Welsh culture, Welsh heritage, all that kind of thing. But he did say that they are definitely looking at getting the shirt sold abroad much easier, because he said the story that basically Rob McElhenney ordered a load of stuff from the shop. It got sent and then got stuck in customs and he couldn't get it out. And he was furious, absolutely furious. So the idea is they're going to look at Australia, they're going to look at US and Canada and basically set up some way being able to get the shirts there so you can buy locally rather than having to go through all the rigmarole of, ordering the shirt for 60 quid, then paying 20 quid for your postage, then it getting stuck in customs and you have to pay that as well. He said he completely understands that bit. And so that's why they're going to do something about it. Talked a lot about the academy and about how it's the future. He mentioned that his kind of North Star was he wants the starting 11 to all come from the academy. That's his gold standard. Very, very rare. John, I'm sure, will back me up on that. For a starting 11 to entirely come from an academy is incredibly, incredibly rare. Man U in the 90s probably did it, but no, Man U in the 90s were close with the class of 92, but it's not going to happen from that. But that's his dream. That's his kind of goal.
Bilbao is the only team I think that does that, correct? Athletic Bilbao, is that right? Hey, got to be whatever. Okay, fine. All right, fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, from a point of view that he said exactly what fans wanted him to hear. He's a very good orator. He's a very good public speaker, as you would expect. But he's a CEO. He doesn't give anything away. He doesn't. He's not the owner. He doesn't own it. So he has investment in it.
He's a steward,
but not invest. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have investment that somebody like somebody who a local person makes a lot of money, buys the club, has a emotional investment in the club to that level. He's not that. He's a gun for hire. He talked about. The first question was, you've obviously been in charge of Inter Milan. What would you bring from Milan to Wrexham? As a soft question. And again, I'm not going to tell you the answer. I'll let you tune into that yourselves. Yeah. But he's a gun for hire. From that point of view. And I mean, the thing is, you would never expected Fleur, our previous CEO, to do this. She never would have got in front of a public speaking event. But it wasn't a town hall. Some people have described it as town hall. It wasn't a town hall because the people in the room didn't ask any questions. The questions were very filtered with regards to they covered a number of the bullet points that currently fans are a bit concerned about. Interesting one from my point of view was I was asked about the training ground, and he did say that obviously there are a number of things that need to get sorted. There's a lot of things that have to go around the club at the moment, a lot of things off the pitch that obviously need to get arranged. He's gone to Rob and Ryan and asked for a lot of money quickly up front because there are so many things to do. He wants to wants to put a spade in the ground for the COP, and then turning to the training ground is going to be his next direct thing. So at the moment, the training ground is kind of on ice until the COP actually starts to get built, and then he will then turn to the training ground after that. It was interesting about tickets, the whole question about tickets and tickets being sold in batches of 3. A question did come up, John, about last night. How did Birmingham fans manage to get access to tickets in
yeah.
the COP.
To
which he sort of said, "Well, I was aware of that. I was aware of what happened, and we'll investigate that." He said they do put a filtering process in with regards to postcodes, but again, that can be circumvented because all you need is some mates who live in Wrexham area, and you're absolutely fine. So yeah, he was again.
Just quickly, right there, and I'll pass. We can all pass around there and ask him and hit up
Sure.
Techie what he's rolling up. What happened in the COP? I know Matt Al and Tacoma said something to that. Was there actual, for lack of a better word, physical violence, or was it just like, I'm not sure.
So I can tell you what I know because I was in the COP on Thursday. By the way, John, well played to the Blues. Excellent team. One of the most enjoyable football matches I've been to for a long time. Two teams properly going at it. No holds barred, no quarters given, but a good game, a good hard game, not a dirty game, not a lot of time wasting. Two proper footballing teams. And I know you said on social media, you said, your midfield was missing, and I know you had a lot of injuries. I'd say something, you're going to be terrifying if all your players actually come into full power, because there's absolutely no chance that people are going to be stopping you. Anyway, I was in Block A of the COP, so as you're looking at the COP on television, that would be on your left-hand side. Once Birmingham scored, there was something that was happening off to my left, so as you're looking at the COP to the right, which is in Block, I think it was in Block E, towards the other end, and apparently there were 3 or 4 Birmingham fans who obviously got up and celebrated when Birmingham scored the equaliser. Apparently, from what I spoke to some of the stewards afterwards, the steward said some of the Wrexham fans obviously pointed out, we've got Birmingham fans in here, I think they should be moved. The stewards went and asked them to move. The Birmingham fans said, go F yourself, we're not moving, we bought our tickets, I'm going to sit here. To which then the stewards then got security. A number of security came over and said, you're going to have to leave. The Birmingham fans said, no, we're not. And so they were grabbed and forcibly ejected from the stand. With them went about another 10 or 12 people. There were quotes about fists flying. I didn't see that. I didn't see that bit. I know there was a commotion because suddenly a lot of people turned to my left and was watching what was going on. And I could see there were groups of people standing up and moving around. But I didn't see any fists being thrown, anything like that. It was just a commotion. And those people eventually were escorted out of the stand. It wasn't a huge amount of people. I would say maximum 13 or 14, maximum. Okay. But it wasn't a big kickoff or anything like that. Again, you have to be careful what you read on social media. I mean, of course, if they can get access to the tickets, you can't blame them. We've all done it. I've done it. I've done it where I've gone to an opposition. If I can't get in the home end, I've stuck into the away end, and you just have to be really, really careful not to celebrate if you score.
I sat in Southampton seats as well at some point to watch a Manchester United game. This is probably like 7 years ago. Yeah. No, that's unbelievable insight. Chris Phillips says, wow, Ken has an all-star cast on his show today. I mean, he really does. He really does. Techie, that is some fantastic. Anyone want to take any of that on and dive into it? And happy to do it. We're just giving a free flow and shoot the rehearsal show. So anything you want to shoot at Techie or have anything to add to that? It's awesome. The Ken show.
Well, since that's my show, just quickly, on the fans, it's always the small minority. Like there would have been thousands of Birmingham fans there that were totally fine, and it's always the small minority. And I don't care what anybody else says. My opinion on it is, get on those guys hard. If they're causing trouble, eject them, get them out, deal with them, and let the other fans from Birmingham who are there to watch a great game of football, like Lost Techie and said it was, let them enjoy it. Everybody else has a great time.
Yeah, my thing is, for me, it's an odd one from an American standpoint, because
I agree.
You go to an NFL game, we're all mixed. You could sit next to, if I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and the closest place they come to me is Indianapolis. They're in the same division, so they play each other twice a year. So Jacksonville comes to Indianapolis every year to play. I'll get tickets and go. So I'm surrounded by Colts fans, but it's never like that. Even if I were to cheer for Jacksonville, none of us ever expect, nobody's worried about a fight or anything. So for me, just the whole conversation, it's just such a weird thing to get my head around, because I just don't, because it's so different here, I guess. And not to say that there's not fights at NFL games, because there are,
There are a lot.
But I guess it's not as. I don't know if it's not as usual or it's just it doesn't have the history that you guys have had.
There's
And,
a big
I wonder if that's to it.
There's a big historical thing about British football. I mean, particularly in the 80s, John. I'm sorry, John. I don't know exactly how old you are, so I'm going to be really insulting, possibly. But in the 80s, it was a real big problem. You know, football in the UK and in Europe was in real trouble because it was more about violence and less about the football, to the point where the authorities really had to crack down. And it dates back to that. I mean, if you play Villa, John, is it still a bubble game, as in with fans?
Oh yes, it's like a war zone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if Wrexham were to play Chester, it's what's called a bubble game, i.e., as an away fan, you're not allowed to go to the game on your own. You would basically you're only allowed to go on a supporters coach. Those coaches would be bussed from an area outside of the place of where you're going into the venue itself to just outside. You'll be escorted from the bus into the seats of the stand. You're often then told to wait behind at the end until all the home fans disappear. Then you're escorted back onto the supporters coach, and the coach is then escorted by the police out to the city to a point then when it can be released. That's called a bubble match. Now, Swansea Cardiff still do a bubble match. Celtic Rangers, if the opposing fans ever get let back into opposing each other's grounds, that will be a bubble match. Bubble matches still exist. Not as bad as it used to be, but it used to be that pretty much every kind of local derby, for want of a better word, was a bubble match. So there's a lot of historical stuff with regards to it. And I noticed a comment about rugby. Rugby's a very different sport. Rugby's a posh person sport. I'm Welsh, but I'm not into rugby. You know, that's one of the usual kind of things where they say, you're Welsh, you shag sheep, and you like rugby. Well, I like rugby. I mean, sheep, fair enough. But I like rugby, from that point of view.
Patty's got something on the chin going. I can see it in his face. You had it. Go ahead, brother.
Our CEO is completely clueless about how big a deal this is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just the whole attitude, we'll put it in postcode filters and all this sort of bullshit. No. It's not done. Now, everybody knows as a fan, if you go into the opposite end, you are not permitted to be there. And just the fact that you are there will get you removed from the stand and the stadium, and you forfeit your ticket. Tough shit. Mm-hmm. Now, I've told this story before. My first match for Wrexham was an away match in the home end at Stockport County, where we got battered 5-0. Mm-hmm. And I saw the disgrace that our fans were in the away end, because I was sitting near them just across the barrier. I saw all the police cordons. I saw all the police cordons outside the ground. We weren't even allowed to walk on the same side of the road as each other. There was horses all the way up the center of the road. I have videos of it. I have pictures of it. It's a disgrace that still needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And all it would have taken, considering we were on Sky TV in front of all the Americans and everything else, is when that goal goes in and a Birmingham supporter gets up and celebrates it, is one idiot of our fans who tells him, sit the fuck down. He says, fuck you. And all of a sudden there's a fight, a real fight on the stand in front of kids on the TV, and it gets captured. Mm-hmm. And the amount of potential damage that would do to Wrexham to have stories like that going out. And I'm not particularly picking on the Birmingham fans. This could be any team that does this in future as well. So he doesn't understand the potential damage that something like that would do to the reputation of football as well, in general a little bit, but actively for Wrexham. So that idea is really stupid. And the idea of putting the tickets out and giving only 4 or 5 hours for a block of 3 for our fans to buy everything up, and then to go out in general to other fans where they can easily get it, is a bit crazy. Mm-hmm. But like, John, if you really want to get into the match, all you have to do is spend an extra £40, because anyone can become a member. I'm an international member. Get it? I don't have postcodes. Like, that's not going to save anyone anything. If a group of 10 or 20 fans from the opposite team want to get in, all they have to do is become members, and they'll get in with everybody else, even bypassing those hours as well. So they need to be more careful about this stuff in general.
His main reasoning about putting 3 matches on at once was basically saying, we can put enough tickets out where all 10,000 members can buy a ticket. That was his reasoning behind it. Not the fact that members actually might want to buy one for each match. His reasoning was every single member can buy at least one ticket, which is the reason why they put 3 out. But he did say it is something they're going to review because obviously there was some backlash on it and maybe they didn't think about it in the right way.
Looking at that from an international fans' point of view, that does help me. So if I'm coming over for a match, I would actively target the last match of that block of 3, because they're the ones that will be last to be bought. Because if people are trying to buy 2 or 3, they can wait a while before buying it for 1. But the other reason is it gives me the most amount of notice to get airline tickets, to buy cheaper hotels. So the idea of a ticket coming out 2 weeks early because it's in a block of 3 absolutely will help international fans. But it will not help if it then means that these tickets become available for a period of time on the open market that makes it even easier for opposing fans to get in groups and get in together into that area.
John, on your end of it, I know obviously from the other side of things, have you heard anything? We'll move on after this. We'll talk about the results today in a second area. And great insight, Techie, and everyone, Patty, also too. Unless Ken, you have something too. But John, on your side, have you heard anything about what happened at the game on your end? Obviously, you're on your boards and everything, but again, it was a fantastic place of football. But and what are you seeing on your end? What have you heard?
Nothing other than what really Techie said. I think there was probably 15 to 20 fans that did get tickets in your end. I'll be honest, I think it was always going to happen because it was what we would classify as a small allocation for away fans. I know it was pretty standard for what you guys can offer, but we have a huge away following, so there was always going to be some that tried to get into the home end. I'll be honest, it happens most weeks for us. I think the last time I read about it was I think it was Crawley away. We got quite a few in the home end that game as well. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it's something which doesn't happen at our home ground. We very, very rarely see away fans coming to the home end at our ground. I think it's harder to get tickets personally. I think you need to have like a client booking reference number and history of purchasing tickets before you can actually just go and grab a ticket. But the other thing is that I'm not sure it's not the 80s, but we're not a fan base that has a particularly great reputation. I think Techie will probably admit to that. So it's not a ground as an away fan you would say, oh, we'll get tickets in the home end, it'll be all right. You probably would say, nah, I'll give that one a miss, thanks.
Yeah, I, from my perspective, and I was not there watching him, it was odd because we were reverse of everybody watching the game at the Cosm. You guys, because I watched the game last night, and I'll get into Aaron talking about how Scars was terrible, and how O'Connell. Yeah, we're gonna get into that later on. I'm just gonna hold it, but I did watch it. We were on the reverse side of things, and we could see a lot of things, but there was so much. I never saw anything like that. But in the tech end, it looked great. So, but yeah, listen. It does happen over here in the States. Unfortunately, people get drunk and people do dumb shit, and it's not good. But Techie, I appreciate your insight on there too, and I respect the fact that FID is going to put that out. We want to be cognizant of it. But if anyone wants to jump in on that, we can move on to the results and things today. But we can kind of keep it moving here. But no, it's awesome. And Techie, I didn't know that you were doing the sound for those things. Congrats, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the third one in a row theirs I've done, and they've asked me to do. So the next gig now I think the next one is the April 24th, okay. I think. And Two Beards for the guys from Australia are over in November. They're doing a live pod from venue 33, Vault 13, sorry. And they've said, can you do it for us? So I've said, yeah, no problem at all. And I don't do it for money. I just do it because I'm just helping everybody out. So it's good fun. So yeah. So it was great. Apart from getting home at 4 a.m, that wasn't fun.
No, it's good chat right there, and I guess we'll leave it for a second, but appreciate it. And like I said, being respectful that FID is going to put stuff out. Obviously, we can deep dive and all that. But Ken, you want to talk about the results today and how it affected Berrien City, who are in the mud, and Wickham, and let's leave that to its side. But what happened today in the results?
Well, I mean, okay, so obviously we had our game, but in the results, Cambridge got 3-2 up over Mansfield. So that was a surprising result for me personally. Maybe not for some other people. In great news for us, Bolton had a 1-0 win over Huddersfield away. So a loss to Huddersfield. Charlton, Shrewsbury. So Charlton has beaten Shrewsbury 1-0. Wickham and Northampton played out a super exciting 0-0 draw.
Right there.
Bodvarsson is going to get Burton out of the relegation zone, scoring 2 goals and beating Rotherham 4-2. So, wow, yeah, big game there. But Burton's found a little bit of form lately. Signed Bodvarsson and away they go. Stockport 2-0 over Crawley Town, and creeping very stealthily up the table. Stockport. Exeter away. Blackpool away to Exeter 1-3-1. And Wigan at home to Bristol 1-2-0. Leighton at home to Reading lost 2-0. Reading's had a little bit of a hiccup lately. They were on a really good run and are starting to have a bit of a hiccup. I'm going to leave this one to last just for fun. Stevenage away to Barnsley has won 1-0.
I know which one it is.
To make Paddy's entire year, Lincoln City has absolutely trounced Peterborough 5-1, and Peterborough are literally on the slippery slide with the dishwashing liquid just sliding down the table.
I got a quote from Darren Ferguson, the head coach of Peterborough.
Go on.
There it is right there. Yeah.
This is without a doubt the softest group of players I've ever managed.
I heard that on the internet, and it was not said in jest either. He was absolutely fuming.
Wow.
Wow.
John, I just hope that this upcoming game for you can bounce back from your terrible form with a 1-1 draw against us and absolutely smash Huddersfield. Please go ahead and trounce them just for us.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm going to say we've got the longest undefeated run now, I think it is, after that loss, because I think they were unbeaten in 16, I think it was. We're unbeaten in 15. So, yeah. I'm not going to lie, I'll take a point, but I think we've got a wonderful opportunity to go there and do some damage to the, shall we say, the top two in regards to our own sort of...
You can't say that on this channel.
Oh, sorry, but...
Top three. Come on, top 3. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, it will do you guys a massive favour, but I look at the way that top 2 is shaping up, and the point for us now. It still looks a good point for you guys, but a point for us now against you on Thursday looks a really good point, because I'll be honest, if we go to Huddersfield and win on Tuesday, that would put us, I think, 11 points above them, or 12 or something like that, with 2 games in hand still or something. So.
We'll be 11, 61-48. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be 11 points with games in hand. They're not catching us then, because we've lost 2 games all season. So anyone who's 9 points behind us is going to.
But you've drawn 6. But you've drawn 6.
Yeah, but we've only lost 2.
You've drawn 6.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if somebody's 9 points behind us, we've got to drop 9 points.
John, just quietly hit him with how many you've won. That'll fix him.
To be honest, I have no idea. I've lost count.
17. Look at me. I have the stats. Look at this. Doing it. Yeah.
Josh, the stat king. What's happened?
Oh, I failed up. Patty, I'll leave that one to you. But Barton scored 2 goals today. I thought that'd be the big one for the day. And obviously, Posh. Personal love for Posh there for Lincoln.
Oh, I'm just rolling around in the misfortune of Posh. I really am. And interestingly, now Darren Ferguson is kind of some people's fan favorite to take over after Parky, and come back to Wrexham. So if he gets the side relegated, that might be an end to that.
Jose Mourinho, anyone? Techie, can we get Jose Mourinho
in the championship next year?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Darren Ferguson, when he played for Wrexham, he was our captain. He was a very influential player, absolute brick in midfield. Manager? No, sorry, not for us. He's not what we would want. Not what we would want at all. Not me personally. I don't think he's right. He's not right for the club.
Oh shit!
I'm with you, Welsh Ticky.
Yeah.
But today, I mean, it seems like a good result. I mean, Wickham dropping points, that helps out Birmingham City, helps out us. Everyone's talking about Huddersfield losing today. Okay, let me just roll this out to everyone, even including you in the Birmingham City. I know you guys are ahead of us and whatever, but I don't give a shit about Huddersfield. I want Wickham to lose. I want Birmingham City to lose. We're still in the playoffs. So I know we want that space, but the space between us and Huddersfield, it really doesn't matter. We're still in the fucking playoffs. So someone give me an argument of why I give a shit that Huddersfield really drops points and they're getting ahead of us on a 30,000-foot level. Or am I missing something?
Because if they had won today and they win their games in hand, they go above you.
Exactly.
Yes.
We go fourth. So it doesn't matter what we do. We're still in fourth.
We're still in the playoffs.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We don't want to be in the playoffs. The playoffs the playoffs. You might as well roll a dice and hope you don't score snake eyes. It's as somebody, and John will back me up, as a fan who have been through a club, who have gone through playoffs. You could play incredibly all season, and you'll come to these two matches, and everything will fall apart, and you'll be back to square one. Look at last season. Look at Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
Oxford finished in 6th. Bolton were running away with it. Couldn't quite get into that top 2. Played Oxford in the final. Oxford wiped the floor with them. They just didn't turn up. All your hard work from the whole season undone in one single game, and you've played 45 by that point.
But my point is, we're still in the playoffs. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, John. But we're still in the playoffs, is what I'm saying. Even if we go fourth, we're still in the goddamn playoffs. We want Wickham. Listen, Birmingham City are going to win the league. I just said it right there. We want second place. We want second place. So we should be targeting Wickham. Whatever Huddersfield do, I don't give a shit. We need to do our business. That's what I'm saying. I guess. Dad talks. Okay. There you go. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you are correct. They are at the moment, but the table is often misleading. You have to adjust for points per match and games in hand and everything else. And right now we have 2 danger teams that are fighting us for that second spot. And that is both Huddersfield and Wickham. So we have to be watching both of them right now, because Huddersfield, in my opinion, are just as dangerous as Wickham for taking the second spot. So they both lost points today. They both had great results for us. So excellent. Let's watch them both.
And the one team, guys, none of you have mentioned at the moment is Leyton Orient. Now they are on an absolute run at the moment. I think they're 9 or 10 unbeaten. Now the thing is, if we are unlucky enough to get third, you're going to be playing 6th. That 6th side is probably somebody who's had a hot run coming into the playoffs, who is on the momentum. You don't want to be playing them because you're comfortable or you're disappointed that you've just missed out on that top 2. So instantly your mental facilities are, we're in the playoffs, so we'll be fine. Team at 6th, they are on a high, massive high. They fought along. They've sneaked in there. You're suddenly coming up against a red-hot side. And that's a problem. That is a major problem.
Well, it's like in the NFL right now. Sorry, like in the NFL. Sorry to cut you off, guys. It's like Washington are doing great. They're on a hot. They're not the best team, but they're on a hot streak, and you want to take that on. So I totally agree. Sorry, whoever was talking. Go ahead. I apologize.
I was going to say, I remember many years ago in the Championship, we finished 3rd. I think it was just above Ipswich, and we were going back to early 2000 sometime now, and we were by far 3rd, nowhere close to 2nd. We played Barnsley in the playoffs. First leg at St Andrews, I think it was. We were 4-0 down after 45 minutes. Your season's gone. 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And Barnsley came into that playoffs. We're nowhere near the playoffs all season. Just came in on a run of like 10 games and smashed us. And I think they lost to Bolton in the final eventually. But that's the thing. Playoffs you want to avoid if you can. So for me, Huddersfield look, to be honest, the more dangerous team out of them and Wickham personally. So that's why I would pay more attention to Huddersfield.
I'm glad they lost it. Chris Phillips says, sorry, Ken, just to read the super chat up. Thank you very much, Chris, for the super. I'm telling you right now, Hollywood ending for the season to face Stockport at the final Wembley. That's my prediction. My heart can't take it. I'll fucking lose it. Sorry, Ken, go ahead.
Well, look, and there's a long way to go. We've got 19 games to play. Birmingham's got 21 games still to play this season. There's a long way to go. 10 more games really before you start really starting to get to the nitty gritty of who can and can't make it. And, there's lots of bumps in the road to come over the next 10 or so games for every team.
Well, if we start O'Connell, we're definitely going to lose. But that's my thought right there. That's right there.
Hey, pull up Thought Mob, and see who's the highest rated player on Wrexham.
You got the keys, brother. You got the keys, brother.
Pull it up.
Sean,
Pull it up.
Tell everyone what his XG is. Go on.
Yeah, go.
Well, he's a defender. He's not going to have a high XG.
Sean says, when you have a chance to go out of better promotion, you must go for it. Otherwise, the lottery. And I think that's a good transition when I talk about moving to transfers. And unless anyone wants to talk about today, other than Budvardsson, I'm going to say this right now. I firmly believe that something happened with Budvardsson and Parkinson. He didn't pass the dickhead rule because he's a good player. I want to know what happened there. Someone, if you have anything, Techie, let's have it.
My theory is that the way that Wrexham is set up does not suit his game. That's what it is for me, because Burton played different way, and he is straight away he's fallen right into it. He's almost, if you look at it, they're now setting up around him because that's why he's picking up, second balls, rebounds, those kind of things. They're setting the side up more around him. I think the way that we are currently playing did not suit his game. Plus, if you're only going to give him 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, a Virtue Cup game, which is, he's never going to get stretch his legs. So, I'm good on him, to be honest. I never want to see a player. Well, there are a couple of players that I absolutely hated, but you never really want to see a player who absolutely falls on their bum. If they move on, you absolutely want them to succeed. I just didn't want it to be so quick that they were scoring goals. But, like you say, it may keep Burton up. And if that's the case, what an incredible buy that is for them, and what a bit of misfortune it is for us. But John will back me up. This happens all the time to every club.
I will say one thing. It is a real surprise he wasn't a success, because if there was ever a forward which I would say should fit Parky and the way you play, it is him. He is that way. He's a big, strong target man. So it was a bit of a surprise that, it didn't work out, shall we say. Yeah.
Weird. He looked quality to me for the amount of time I saw him on the pitch. I liked him. And I was very surprised that he got so little time, and that other people online were saying that he's not for us and he's useless and whatever, which was really surprising. But the one thing I did notice is when he did the interviews, and I think he did the interview when he did his first match, and he was very Scandinavian, let's say, very direct to the point, very matter of fact about things. And if you want to talk about aggravating Parky, potentially that's the type of person who would do it, who would simply say things how they see them. And if they see there's a problem, or they see there's a reason why they're not getting service or whatever, I think he's the type of player to just say it in a very straightforward manner. And if Parky and some of the others maybe didn't like that, maybe they just didn't get on with him. He was only in on a very temporary contract, so it was very easy to kind of push him to the side if they wanted to. I didn't see any reason why he should have been pushed to the side. He didn't have the time or the minutes before that happened.
He probably played, 45 minutes, 50 minutes when he was here? That sounds right? I don't think
that's a little low. I think that's a little low, but
I think he started.
And it was broken up.
He started at least one game. I don't remember if it was a league game or if it was like Virtue Trophy or something, but he definitely started one.
Virtue Trophy it was. Virtue Trophy.
Would you have him at Birmingham City, John?
If we needed to change the light bulb in the change room, maybe. I've probably got a bit of a different view on it, because I've seen him trying to play at the championship level for a number of clubs, and he to be honest,
John, you'd probably pay that much money to have a guy changing light bulbs.
Yeah, we probably would. To be fair, he probably would.
Yeah. I mean, he's got good lettuce. What are you gonna? But honestly, I hope they keep Burton up and the disruptors, and that's one of the things, Joe, I want to talk about. Who are these disruptor teams? Who are the teams that are going to do? Like today, people dropping points today. Are there disruptor teams, or the real people, the real teams that are actually going to make a run at it? And if we're talking about this top 8, 10, I mean, Bolton looked to be coming into. They won today. I mean, who are those teams that are going to do it? Is Burton going to be a team that's going to kick in because now they got a striker that plays in there? Maybe they keep themselves up and they fight. I don't know. I mean, do we have any teams that we think that will be the disruptors?
Leighton.
Yeah, Leighton.
Charlton at home.
Charlton, yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
And Bolton,
Like
you don't know what you're going to get now. Because I watched that game today, and they were really good, and they have got really good players. So a lot depends on their managerial appointment next. If they get that right, they could, quite easily get into the playoffs and be a real tough. Well, they'll be a tough team for anyone in the playoffs.
Well, Reading.
Yeah.
Looking at Reading either.
I can't work out Northampton personally. That's my thing. They're very, very low, but they seem to eke out results against. 0-0 against Wycombe away today. That's impressive. That's an impressive result. Where's that? Why are they then at 20th or 21st or wherever they are? There is obviously not hitting somewhere, but they might be ones where you kind of go.
I'd like to know where Tyler Roberts has gone. We sent him on loan to Northampton. He hasn't played for about 2 months. He should be their best player.
Maybe he's changing light bulbs in there.
Yeah, quite. He probably got injured doing it. Actually, to be fair, but
do you think if we sell Mullen back to Cambridge, he can keep him up?
No.
No. No. Okay, no. All right.
They've already repainted his name off the stand, so they can't have him back anyway because they didn't have to repaint it back in again. So yeah, no.
Oh man. Well, I mean, it's gotta be tight at the bottom there too. I cannot believe we lost to fucking Shrewsbury Town. They're in the bottom. They're literally in the basement. I mean, they're literally.
Yeah, but they gave away a 96-minute goal today, so that's another 3 points lost. I'm sure they're going to enjoy the result they had against Birmingham and the result they get against us, and they can enjoy it in League Two where they belong. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
I can't wait. I can't wait till Ainsworth comes to St Andrews. I really can't.
Now,
Yeah.
Talking about lettuce, right there.
Yeah.
Homeless man lettuce. That one is.
I think he's dying in certain spots too. Not even right. I think he's got to be. Is he dying the sides?
He spends all his money on his boots, not his hair. That's the problem. So.
Well, getting back on about disruptors and playoffs and stuff like that. I think we're not very far off the point where we will comfortably be playoffs, unless we go on a disastrous run and destroy it ourselves. I think we're not very far off. The teams behind us are slipping away a bit. We're opening a bit of a gap, and there's enough of them there that are kind of fighting each other to get up that we should be okay in the playoffs without any major disaster from us. But saying that with the playoffs, all of those teams, everyone who has a shot of getting into the playoffs with a run of form near the end of the season, none of them I want to play. There's none of them I would say are an easy mark and a guaranteed win with any of those teams.
Wembley makes you like this, right? In the you pucker it up right there, 100%. And on that, if we do slip up too, I was going to go to the transfers and pass it on there, talk about the movement there, but I want to give this lightweight fight up to Ken, who wanted to have homage with our very own Aaron here about O'Connell and Scar. So we're going to take a quick break and let them have a little bit of a tussle about how amazing O'Connell.
Do we really want to do this today? I
do.
mean, I want to embarrass Aaron on live YouTube.
I don't know what else I could say. He's our best rated player. His stats are amazing. I think he should be playing. I understand. Hey, listen, he had a terrible game against Shrewsbury. That's no doubt. And the Barnsley game wasn't good either. So maybe a break will do him good.
He started him. We would have beat you guys. If O'Connell started, we would have beat you.
I don't think he would have lost. Can't think of your big striker's name, but I don't think he'd have lost him on that corner.
Belichick.
I think he'd have kept him covered.
He got picked.
He lost him.
Josh is taking care of the fight for him.
But Aaron, that goal, we were warned about that he tried it before that, and they just about got away with it. And then later on, after the goal, he did it again. And again, he slipped us, and he just couldn't quite get control of the ball and put it out. So the warnings were there. I don't think Owen O'Connell would have done any better. Because we've seen Owen O'Connell do the same thing.
Did you all listen to our manager's interview after the game?
No.
I think he did on Sky because
Did
he
say
came out and
if
actually.
they played O'Connell, we would have won?
No,
Did
he
he say
didn't
that?
quite say that, but they asked him about the corner because we haven't scored many goals off set pieces, and he said Wrexham are a heavy man marking side. They don't do zonal markings, where a lot of teams do a bit of zonal and man. He says they do man marking across all set pieces. So he said we knew we could get some blocking runners in, which allowed Dykes to get free. So I actually think in the melee, Scar probably got blocked off by somebody, which allowed Dykes to get the 2 yards on him, if I'm being honest. And our manager
Absolutely
pretty
did.
much said that.
And now, Aaron, in my retort,
Sorry. Yeah.
let me
Get him!
retort. I literally watched Pulp Fiction yesterday. So O'Connell, who's had a regular start of games, goes and Barnsley, who are currently sitting 6th, so right on the edge of the playoffs. Yes, had a terrible game against them. Plays against Shrewsbury, 24th in the league, Aaron, regular run of games, falls over on grass faster than a drunk cow and can't stay on his feet. And then we bring in Scar, who hasn't played in months, and puts in a very solid performance, mind you, against the top of the table team who is going to win the league. And you continue to tell me that O'Connell's a better player than Scar.
I mean, all right. If we're going to do this. Okay.
There we
Dan Scar. Dan Scar. Nobody wants to hear this, but I'm about to tell you. Dan
Here we
Scar.
go.
Let's go to the relevant things. Okay.
Here we go. Fop mob me.
The big guns coming out.
Aerial duel percentage. That would be very relevant to the conversation we're having. 64.9%, which is not terrible, not great, not terrible. Now let me slide over to Owen O'Connell real quick. Sorry, I gotta pull up the team here. Squad. Let's go
dear.
O'Connell. Okay. Owen O'Connell in the same stat. Aerial duel percentage 76.1. They're not in the same stratosphere. And it's like that. The whole thing. If you look at his stats, literally all the way down, it is miles better in every stat category. Okay, granted he had a bad game, and listen, I don't expect O'Connell to come back in. That's not Parky style. He'll give Scar a run of games, which is fine. I'm not saying Scar's a bad defender. I think O'Connell's the better of the two because he offers more. Also, going forward, I think he offers more than what Scar does.
We need to use the midfield,
but we do but we do, and that's maybe we would rather use the midfield more, but that's not how Parky plays. He wants that center back knocking the ball forward.
Here's the thing, Aaron. Just remember back, we had this guy, I think his name was Ben Tozer, and he played great, and I loved his long throws and a great steward for the club. And then we go and buy a guy called Owen O'Connell, who everybody says is better than Tozer. And it's proven to be true. He's done it. Then we have Owen O'Connell. Then we go and buy this guy called Dan Scar, who I understand all your Fop Mob stuff, but Scar has played high level of football against better teams all the time. He is the better player. And Dan Scar's never played in the Champions League. Don't tell me he's played against better players. Don't tell me that, because that's not true.
John, you have a biased opinion?
So if you're going to come at me, you better come out with something good. I can fight this all day.
Patty's looking at stats. I can see it in his eyes. And Techie's like, what?
You're trying to find something. And
I'm not getting involved in this one.
That's the problem.
I like my defenders not to fall on their arse when no one's near them.
Like I said, there's nothing else I can say. I think, like I said, he's had at least two games that were just really bad. Okay?
Interestingly, when you pulled up those stats on FootMob, was he the worst Was he the one with the worst rating in your back four or back three?
No, he's the best rated team. He's best rated player on the team.
So
period.
6.9. So he didn't do that bad.
Yeah, he did that bad. He's gonna. Oh, so Aaron.
Oh, you're talking about Scar, not.
Yeah, this game right here. Yeah.
Okay.
He had a 0. Your guy had a 0 because he was on the bench. Yeah, he didn't play. But Claire had a 7-8. Your back line, by the way, ate up everything. I think, Patty, you said that in the
Oh,
first game.
Clara's a monster.
Claire's
He's-
unbelievable.
He's pretty good.
Everything up.
Mhm.
Cost a pretty penny, though, to be fair.
How much was he?
But it's worth
he
it.
was-
You've
yeah.
got every single penny worth it out of him. He is an absolute beast. An absolute beast.
It cost us 3.2 million, I think it was. And I think the thing that a lot of people didn't realize is his German club we bought him from did get relegated from the Bundesliga, but he did play something like 28 games in Bundesliga last season. So he's played a whole season at a really high level.
Yeah.
So it was
He's a
coming
good-
into. He was bought more so with he should cope with the League One and should cope with Championship and should be worth a lot of money when we sell him in some years' time.
24 years old, 191. I don't know what that is in American, but he looks like he was a bad guy in Die Hard. But which is good.
It's that does go around on social media that every time he has a good game, you get the picture from Die Hard with.
Oh, look at me on.
Yeah,
I'm in the zeitgeist. Awesome. All right, let's Aaron, we're not going to beat you up a little bit. I know you're yawning. You got beat up by Ken for that. Yeah. I love it though. This guy Clara looks good though. You guys ate him up, but should we move on?
I'll trade Dan Scar for him.
You're
So
great.
we already had Dan Scar, thanks.
There you go.
I know, and you got rid of him.
You did do. All right. Well, I another plan talk about the transfers and the business we did, which I want to talk about that a little bit. Let's want to talk about Ryan Longman, the signing of Mendy, extension of Mendy and Jack Marriott. Want to get people's thoughts on that, and also the business. Matt Al said that we're not in for Smith anymore. I don't know who scored today, by the way. I want to pass it on to everybody and get your thoughts on the Longman signing and extension of Mendy, which I'm still confused about, and if we're going to continue on the market, and if John, on your end of things, if you guys are going to continue to do any business on your end, we'll go around the horn. Whoever wants to take it first.
I'll go first. The Mendy thing. That does seem it is an interesting signing, extension, because I thought he would be one of the ones that would be probably dropping off at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's had some injury issues, which is, an argument for a reason why you may want to drop him in, maybe not renew him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's been good, but he's not. We haven't seen him do it at this level. And if we were to go up, is he going to be able to do it at that level? Even higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, and I don't. That one surprised me. What's everybody else's thoughts?
Also, by the way, I put in the Dalby's thing at Dundee. I forgot about that one too. Thank you, by the way, Paul Kelly. So take them all on.
We'll go around. Paddy, you go next. What do you think on Mendy?
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I don't see the need to do it because at the end of the season you could make the same offer, and I'm pretty sure he would take it. My opinion is he would like to stay with us longer, and if that means riding the bench and training, it seems like he's happy to do that. He will probably find some difficulty in moving teams because of all the injuries and recent injuries, certainly without going down multiple levels, which he probably doesn't want to do. So at the end of the season, if we know we're staying in League One and you want to re-up him, that would have been my preference. The only thing when I was going through this in general, as a general thought, is some people are saying, protect his worth. He's not worth anything really. He's too old. By the time he gets released to another team, it's not going to be worth it. But potentially he's on a very low contract. It might not actually be very expensive.
5K a week. Maybe.
Yeah. And maybe we'll talk about the others like Lee and Mullen getting very early contracts and very long contracts. And I was also considering them and thinking maybe it's a similar issue. Maybe they were willing to sign these new longer contracts to kind of finish out their careers with us without looking for big increases. Mm-hmm. So they may not be costing us a huge amount over the long term, but still, I don't think it's best practice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also the Mendy stuff. Decky, you got thoughts on Mendy? I know he's not your player, obviously, but
I agree. I agree with with Paddy and Aaron. I wouldn't have signed Mendy. The only reason I can think is that it's a cheap option to fill the squad. He's a squad player at just about at this level.
Yeah.
But if he was going to go anywhere, it would be League Two. But that would be doubtful because of his injury record. He would be living basically on the fact that he's come through 2 promotions. So historically, a lower League Two club might look at him and go, okay, well, maybe he's worth a punt.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not proved himself. You know, the chance he had a few weeks ago when McLean was suspended, didn't play particularly well. You can't blame him for that because he's had no real time on the pitch. There's no real reserve games, so he can't really get a decent run out at all. You know, but I don't see the sense. Because you've got Longman, who obviously, yes, all right, he plays left mainly, but he might be right as well. You're just not quite sure. But you've got Ravan. Ravan was supposed to be the future. You know, what's happening to him? You know, are we? So why are we signing Mendy? Because if McLean stays for another season, which I don't know whether that's a good idea or not, he would be fourth choice.
Yeah,
he would be fourth choice for that wing. Potentially, and you kind of go in. Then why are we? So he becomes an automatic squad player, and will never get much of a sniff apart from in the Virtue Trophy or maybe early League Cup if we want to put out a completely different side like we did this year against Sheffield United. So I don't understand it, but there's obviously some. I mean, maybe it's and there's no sentiment in football. There's no sentiment in football, but maybe it's Parky saying, we know you've been injured a lot, but you've stuck with us thick and thin. It's not going to cost us a huge amount to keep your contract for another 12 months. And you're a fairly decent squad player because you work hard in training. So let's give you another 12 months.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this on this topic, and then it'll kind of transition into another topic. Does that signing tell us anything about where Parky's likely to play Longman?
Well, you're limited with Longman because you can only really play him because he's a winger and he's right-footed. So you're kind of limited. You could try and play him on the opposite wing.
Well, that's where he's played. I think, Patty, I think you posted it. I think he's played 40 on the left and 40 on the right. So he's played both sides pretty evenly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and he is a little, as Josh said the other day, he is he's two-footed, but he leans more on his right. He's more right-footed than left. So you're limited on what he can do. I mean, he has played wing back, but he's a winger.
He's a winger.
We don't play a system with a winger. We play a system with wing backs. So I don't know how that's going to work.
It's interesting, and he did note it. He did say when in one of the interviews he did with the club when he was getting announced, he did mention that he'd played wing back before.
In his early career.
So I wonder if that's kind of where they're leaning. I don't know. I know a lot of people talk about. But is he going to play
early career, isn't it? That's early career. That's he's now
right,
into
absolutely
with his time with Brighton, with his time with Hull, with his time.
John called him a journeyman. John called him a journeyman already.
Yeah.
John called him a 24-year-old journeyman.
Yeah, because he's been around and never really done much.
No, that's right. That's right. He's right.
Don't agree with you. Yeah, go ahead.
I have the list here in front of me. So position and appearances: right winger 42, centre forward 40, left winger 28, left midfield 24, right midfield 24, attacking midfield 3, and right back 1.
Those sort of players scare me. They always do. But whenever we've signed them in the past, because it's the old saying, isn't it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none.
Yep.
And managers love those players because they can always fit gaps. But they're never really signed with, right, you're my first choice winger, or you're my first choice number 10. It's always if I have injuries, you can play there, and if you have injuries, you can play there. And it's just like, well, they never fit in. Almost, it's always they're always moved around.
Well, that leads to this one too, and I'll pass it. John, good shout right there, by the way, for the journeyman. I love it. Brian Burton said earlier today, Parky can identify player, he just can't use that. Ken, I think you've mentioned it in the past too, and that's great stats, by the way, you just put up, by the way, Patty. But Ken, I mean, will he use them?
Well, I mean, it's at that point now, isn't it? I mean, he has a history of not playing players and not using his interchange earlier in games. History is just riddled with that. But, I'm going to give Parky the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to let this play out for this season, see what happens with these players. I know what we're saying about Longman here, and he's, and John nailed that pretty much right on the head. Jack of all trades, master of none. I think, to be fair to Ryan Longman, you've got to give him a position and say, go and play that position and be our guy there, because he's a good player and you need good players starting, and you need to give them regular games, which is exactly what you guys have all just said about Mendy, and I'll park that one because it's Mendy things like a whole, I don't know whether we sign him or not. I think there's a bit better in Mendy if he got regular playing time. But can he get regular playing time in this squad? Probably not.
Mendy, no.
The bigger question here, guys, is yes, we signed Longman. He might be a great player, might not be a great player. But is he the player we need right now? My answer is no. We don't need a winger right now. We've got wingers, and those wingers are doing okay. Ryan Barnett is doing great. James McLean can probably do better.
Do you think he'll take the? Do you think
Van's okay? He's not too bad. Mendy will be okay on his day. We've got wingers, but we're not scoring any goals. So surely we need forwards. We need people to score goals.
Do you think he's been signed with next season in mind, though? Do you think, because obviously
Probably.
Parky does seem to take a while to, shall we say, trust players and bring them in by looking from the outside. So maybe he's brought him in with half a season to go, and maybe next season somebody leaves, or he has a position for him next season.
Well, then this is the counter to that, by the way. Sorry, no, Chen, but what about Dobson, Rathbone, Matty James? But those aren't like flair positions. Those are skill positions. You know what I mean? Those are kind of like, those are three workhorse guys: Rathbone, Dobson, and Matty James. For a striker, for strikers and wingers, he doesn't do it. He, for whatever reason, he's so adverse to it. I could be wrong, and please tell me if I'm wrong.
I agree somewhat with him on that. I agree with him somewhat, but Rathbone, it took a long time before Rathbone really got settled in the squad. It really took an Elliott Lee injury. It was an Elliott Lee.
He kept playing him in the wrong position. He kept playing him as a centre forward, or he kept playing him, trying to play him out on the wing. And he's not those players. He is an attacking midfielder. So that's why he said he kicked on, because it's like he played him in the right position and gave him some time. And that's what Parky obviously doesn't like to do. He likes people to bench warm for a bit and say, watch the side, get used to the side, and then we'll drop you in for here, there, maybe, but you just have to bide your time. I mean, look at Lewis Brunt, and this has gone very quiet about Brunt. So I don't know what's happening with him. Very, very quiet. No injury news. Yeah, there's no news or nothing. But he complained, didn't he? Because basically he was out of the side for 2.5 months, and he complained in the media and said, I'm a little bit annoyed because I've come from a championship level side. I was sort of half promised that I was going to get some decent game time, and I'm not even getting a sniff. So,
wow.
But just quickly, well, I'd push back on we don't need a winger thing, because if you look, we attack, our main form of attack in the first 26, 27 games this season has been Barnett down the right. And now in the last 4 to 5 games, teams have become savvy to it. Every time Barnett pushes down the right now, double teamed. And every time we try and go down the left, it's ineffective. Now, Ryan Longman can play both sides. He can play on the left and provide another avenue on the left side, which then also takes pressure off Barnett, frees up Barnett. He's got a great cross. Longman can play both sides. And I'm not saying he's the absolute pivotal player we need, but it definitely would free up and give more options, because we don't attack through Dobson, Rathbone, Matty James so much. They deliver the ball. Rathbone a little bit, yes, but Dobson and James, no. So having that guy down the left, having Longman play down the left, all of a sudden makes a defensive outfit go, hang on, where are they coming at us? How are we setting up for that? It creates a lot more pressure for defenses. And like Birmingham showed the other night, who has an excellent defense. If they don't have a quality player like Clara right there, we probably score a couple more goals.
You guys ate everything up we put inside.
It was really good.
You ate everything up.
And that was without our captain, who's normally playing centre back as well, because he was on the bench.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. You could put Longman on the other wing, and he might come inside and do a couple of things that Lee used to do, where he used to come inside and shoot and whatever, and that's fine. But Longman's not scored a huge amount of goals. I think he scored 3 or 5 in the last season. I think for Millwall, something like that. So he's not an out and out goal scorer, and that will eventually become negated as well. And you could put all the crosses in the world into the box, but if there's nobody there to finish them, it's pointless.
I agree. We needed that guy.
And we've been screaming the fact that our forward department is not firing. We've got so many forwards out there who are not putting the ball in the back of the net, which is their job. Yes, they have other jobs, but the primary role of a forward is to be forward. So you are the person to put the ball in the net.
What drives me nuts about Palmer is like doing a job. I want his fucking job as a striker is to put the ball into the back of the net, not to knot it down to nowhere and put a shift in. Sorry, I will lose my goddamn mind. I'm sorry. On that note, Dalby staying up north. What does that mean? Are we out of it? To John, were you scared of Palmer the other night? You said you weren't even scared of Mullen coming on.
No, I wasn't scared of Mullen. Palmer caused us problems, but mainly because of his physicality. He upset. But the problem was you had nobody next to him to do anything.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Yeah.
Palmer created a lot of panic in our defense, but there was no one near him.
This is what I've been saying. When Marriott was firing early in the season, we were the highest scoring team in the league. And once Marriott went out and got hurt, we haven't had that player next to Palmer to exploit those nod-ons and stuff that he does do. No, he doesn't score, but he does so many other good things. He's been pivotal in our defense. And I know you don't want to hear that, but defending set pieces and defending free kicks coming into the box.
True.
He's been fantastic at heading the balls out. That's the kind of work that he does. And
but he's not, but Aaron, he's not a defender. He's
not. No,
That's
he's not.
his
But I'm
job.
saying, but because the way Parkey play, Parkey's a defensive coach. He's not asked about scoring a ton of goals. He wants
like saying, I want to get a wall built. I'll hire a bricklayer, but this bricklayer I've hired, he's really good at doing carpentry. But I don't want him to make a door. I want him to build a bloody wall.
But but we were scoring the most goals in the league in the first 6-7 weeks
because of Marriott, because of the follow-on bit.
But
if
he
you
was
don't
playing
have
with,
somebody,
but he's playing
Lee,
with Palmer,
for me, up front, no, Elliot, no. Don't take corners. Don't go up front. That's not your position. That's not what you do. Because he's not physical. Against Birmingham on Thursday, he was out-bullied off every single ball. He's too short and he's not physical enough.
Yeah.
And he was bullied off every ball. That's no good for a forward. You need somebody with some physicality, particularly if they're taking first ball, or like John said, if it's then come down from the target man, taking second ball. If you can't get to second ball, it's pointless because then the offense just clears it, and that's exactly what was happening.
I think the problem with the way we're playing right now, because he's playing him in, and instead of playing him up front as he would play Mullen or Marriott, he plays him in behind Palmer, and he can't get to those balls, and he doesn't get to those balls, and so he's really just running around for no reason because he can't get to anything because he's too far away. It's really how it's looked.
Who brought this topic up? What's going on?
I only said Palmer played well. Don't blame me.
Let's go back to O'Connell for a second. This is the same problem I have with O'Connell, more so than this argument over who's better, Scar or O'Connell. O'Connell has been asked to do things that midfielders should be doing. He is not doing his defensive duties because of that. So I personally do not blame O'Connell for some of the mistakes he's making because he is tracking forward too much and he's getting out of position too much and he's been asked to do too much outside of his job. Defenders defend, midfielders attack and defend, and a striker score the fucking goals. How difficult is it to get the basics working first before we start trying all this other carry on?
The way Parkey figures that if he can get his defenders up front and his strikers in the back, it's just as good, right?
Well, Matt loves watching
football. Play everywhere, play anywhere. It doesn't matter. Just
to add a different perspective on it. For years in the Championship under defensive managers, we've had Lukas Djukovic, who's pretty much played the Palmer role. And so many managers played him consistently, week in, week out, because he was a big, strong target and won everything. But defensively, he offered you a big defensive on corners, free kicks, which are huge in the Championship. So I know we all say attackers are, their job is to score goals, but if you can get a big target man that actually helps you on the defensive side, it's a bonus, but it's a really big bonus.
But did Djukovic also score a number of goals for you, John?
The honest answer is if he was lucky to get 10 in a season.
10's enough.
So is he a forward or is he a defender? That's the question.
He's don't get me wrong, he's a forward, but the thing is with Djukovic, with us, you always had a Scott Hogan or a little man with a bit of pace playing around him. Scott Hogan's a poor example because he's a poor excuse for a footballer. But you would always have somebody that had legs that could pick up off the second balls, or you would have wingers with pace that would cut in and pick up those second balls. He was never, Djukovic would never score 20 odd goals a season. But what he gave the side was just more than his goals, if you know what I mean.
Matt says from Racecourse says, I can't watch Palmer run towards the goal and throw some to the floor.
He does look like a baby giraffe sometimes.
I watched the game back last night. He had 3 guys on him, tried to cross over. Sorry, Ken. What do you got?
No, I was just going to say it matches up perfectly. We've got one guy in the attacking end falling over and one guy in the defensive end falling over when he plays. No, moving on.
Just trying to keep the team even. Just trying to keep things even,
Balance.
Yeah, balanced.
Any tall player can do that first guy.
But in all seriousness, if Palmer just had a little bit of extra quality at his feet, and he had a couple of avenues to lay off to, oh my God, it'd be amazing.
But it's like I said to Paddy the other night on the after show. It was just, if Palmer has that bit with his feet and has that clinical edge and scores loads of goals, well, I'm sorry, lads, he's not playing for Wrexham. He's in the league above.
Yeah.
Sorry, stop raining on my parade, John.
Sorry.
How do you got something brewing? I
heard. Yeah. Why don't we move on to Fall? Because we haven't mentioned him at all in our striking lineup.
You think he's going to be loaned out? That's what you're about to say, aren't you?
No, he can't be loaned out.
No,
we can't.
He can't be loaned out.
Yeah, I think he played a game for West Brom, correct? Before he came. Yeah.
You can't wait. That's a weird rule. You can't loan
on.
You're only allowed 2 clubs in a season.
2 clubs a season.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he won't be on the bench if we that's what I think he's gonna be sacrificed, in my opinion.
No. He'll absolutely be on the bench. He might not be on every game, but he'll be on the bench.
He wasn't on the bench against Birmingham, was he?
He was.
No.
Was he?
No, I don't think he was.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Marriott, Mullin, and Fletcher were the 3 attackers on the bench against Birmingham.
If we get promoted to the Championship, he will get loaned out next year to get playing time.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have a theory.
This year, he'll be lucky to get another 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, but he's never virtue. Paddy, you had a theory, and then I saw your eyes working.
No, it's just a discussion that kind of keeps coming back up in how we use our players. We have him on a very long contract. So is there any particular need or worry about him? Should he be playing? Should he not be playing? What do people think? I like him, but we're too high. I think we're simply too high in the league to risk him. I think that's what it comes down to ultimately.
Yeah.
Johnny, you got an opinion on Mo Fall?
Yeah, I was going to say, can I say something controversial?
Yes.
Because he was your record signing, wasn't he, or something? Was he your
no,
record signing?
Rathbone was. It's close to
So he was. Yep.
He got paid a lot.
I think I think it was up to
if you had bonuses that we don't know about.
Certain bonuses, if they come in, I think he's all right.
My controversial opinion was he was a waste of money. I don't see why you bought him, because where you're challenging and where you want to go to, he isn't good enough. If he was good enough for Championship or would be good enough for the Championship, West Brom would have kept him. They would have kept him in the reserves and loaned him out. The fact they sold him, they've said you're never going to amount to this level. So and for you to sign him and not play him makes no sense to me.
Well, that's a Parky thing, though.
John, are you saying that you think the Baggies know what they're doing? Is that what you're saying? As a Blues fan?
I've got two mates who are both season ticket holders that go to the Baggies, and both of them said to me when you guys bought him, they just laughed. They said, don't know what they've seen in him, because they'd seen him in a few sort of, under 21s and a few cup. They said he's never going to be good enough, not for championship level.
We're throwing bombs today.
Right.
Oh, they're lit
I
too.
have a different take on that. We have signed him for multi-years. He is young enough at the moment. I think that because it is so difficult to find the Palmer role that he is looking for, I think he wants to attempt to train Fal up in that role, which other teams are not doing. They're not looking at it. It's not a style they play. So in that respect, they don't care about it. They wouldn't have looked at Fal for that position. Will it work? Will it not? I have no idea, but I don't think the money was ridiculous for someone of his age for the shot at doing it. But if Parky hasn't gotten anything decent out of him by the end of this season and then starts sending him on loan, then he's ruined, if that was the idea. Because then he's gone off to other teams. He's not learning anything in order to take over those sort of roles, and it's done. Maybe it's a waste, maybe it's not, but
we've just said he's not going to get any time, is he? Because Parky's not going to risk it at this level, so he's not going to get the time. That's going to it's not going to happen.
Yes.
He might play against Port Vale, and then if we beat Port Vale, we've got Bolton at home. But by then you're now getting to quarterfinal, semi-final stage. So at that point you're thinking, well, now you're only a couple of games from Wembley. So how much now do you put the reserve side players in and actually start playing all your first team players? So you want to get to Wembley, and if that happens, then Fal will be on the bench and he'll do 5 minutes at the end. So he won't get the chance. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're talking about Smith in the chat here. Which Smith? I mean, are we pay for Smith? Which Smith?
Yeah, now the rumors possibly after Sam Smith, which I don't know that makes it.
Which one would you prefer to have?
He's retired. Mr.
No, that's the wrong one. You're mixing up.
Yeah, you're mixing up your Smiths. You're talking about Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith retired.
Yeah, Sam Smith is the striker for Reading, isn't he?
Yes, that's the one we're now apparently after. The other Smith, the rumor is that we have said we're not upping our deal anymore. It's on the table, but we're done. So you can consider whatever it is. Maybe it's 800,000. But basically that's the rumor at the moment, is we've gone as high as we're going to. You can sit on it till the end of the window if you want and come back to us if you want to discuss it then. But we're moving on to see if we can find it elsewhere and whatever else. And we're now looking at Sam Smith. And the other name was Cauley Woodrow.
Yeah.
This guy's got good numbers. I don't know anything about him, but he's, I don't know. You guys know anything about this? Is Sam Smith? I'll look up Cauley Woodrow.
Yeah, we have been linked with Sam for a while actually. And some
the
people
problem you've got is what
we're not going to get him.
The problem you've got is what Matt's pointed out on the chat. Reading are on transfer embargo, so anybody they let go, they're not going to be able to replace. So the only people they're going to let go are people they don't want. And if he's that good that we want him, they'll want him because of where they are and what they're doing. So that's going to be the problem, is getting him out of Reading, because the fact is they can't let their good players go because they can't replace them.
He was one of the League One top goal scorers last season, wasn't he? I believe.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So he definitely won't be coming to us then, because Reading won't release him.
Cauley Woodrow's got 15 appearances, 0 goals. The other guy, the other Smith of the Smith's
Michael Smith
or Sam Smith.
Well, Sam Smith doesn't look. We can't get with.
24 and 10. That's not going to happen. Okay, there you go. And you have the embargo, so that's not going to happen. So let's be So the Michael Smith one. I mean, he scored today, right? For did he do that? Right?
Yeah, he came off the bench and scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
I mean, are we going to sign? Is there another signing in the offing? I don't know. We'll see. And
the other name was
the Sheffield Wednesday owner. The Sheffield Wednesday owner is off the scale crazy.
Yeah,
and that's the problem right there. Because he doesn't bother selling players. He just lets them run their contract out, and you go, oh well, whatever, it's fine. He's not talking to the manager at the moment. There is no communication between the two of them. He is an absolute loon in the nicest possible way, and that's your problem. Never mind your agents and everything else. You're dealing with an owner who is not interested, particularly in selling players. Doesn't matter what you offer.
Wow.
They didn't pay money for Smith either. They signed him on a free transfer, so. They haven't got a capital outlay that they paid for him.
Nope. So it's even less chance.
So you think we'll do any business? Or I think we're done. I mean, Rob said yesterday in an interview, or the other day when I was at the Cosm, he said the last 24 hours are the most exciting of the window. So is that a hint, or is he just trying to G things up, or you think we're just done?
He's talking about our media team and all the weird tweets we're going to put out about players that apparently we've signed and then we're not. That's what it'll be.
Moon tweets.
Yeah. Mean
tweets, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I don't think we're done.
I mean,
I don't think we're done at all.
I hope not.
There have been a number of deals that have been put out on tables, and as Aaron said, there are offers that have been made and upped, and then clubs have been told that's your limit. We're not going any further. The problem is historically the January transfer window is incredibly difficult because there isn't a lot of talent out there that is on the move. And therefore, then the prices of that talent is then lifted because the supply and demand, it's what you're willing to pay and finding the right players that will fit your system. Ex-Wrexham manager Brian Flynn last night at the live event said as part of his piece, he said he speaks to Parky on a regular basis, and he did give him 2 names of 2 forwards who are currently available, but he wouldn't say who they were. Now, Brian Flynn, for those of you who don't know, he knows everybody in the business, everybody at the highest levels. He's been at the national level at Wales. The squad that did really well in 2016 was pretty much between him and John Toshak, got those players together and built them up over the years to get them to that position where they all hit the right time, and that's why they were so successful. So, he knows his stuff, and Parky listens to him, and he suggested a couple of names to Parky. So it'd be interesting to see whether anything comes from that.
There's I got a message from Matt Al about Brian Flynn here too. I'll leave that one aside there, but yeah, for sure. I mean, I still think we need a striker. In my opinion, I was surprised we got somebody. I'm surprised you got the Longman in, but now obviously he said we were in from it for the summer, but it's
I'm with Paddy and Hip Karma there. Just there's still another signing coming. Last gasp of the window, leaving it to the death. On the signings, interesting Longman interview when he sort of said, nearly got the deal done in the summer. Didn't get it done. So he obviously wanted to come here, but they just couldn't get the deal done. And so I'm excited about that.
Was Oxford a smokescreen, you think, or no?
No,
Paddy.
No, I absolutely think Longman was a value signing. In that I believe Parky has a list of players that he's interested in, partially simply because they're workhorses, will do the defensive, will do the running, and all of this sort of stuff. And when Oxford came in for him, it was okay. They're not outbidding what we think is value, and it's our last chance, so we're going to do it. And they did what they needed to steal him away. And considering they obviously had discussions previously last summer and were trying to get it done, now they felt they had to get it done in the January window instead of in the summer. So I don't think this was a signing that was done in order to shore up exactly what we want. But the club has said that they want to be sustainable. And so far, considering we do have budget in the background, or we should, Parky has not been whacking out the big bucks and spending everywhere. So this one I simply think was a value play. They saw value, they saw they were going to lose him, and they went and stole him.
Longman was a reaction to signing as someone else moved for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's what Matt says. John, do you like this signing for us, or what? Just on the other side of things, I know we had a little bit to say. And
the Longman signing.
Yeah.
I think the journeyman. I think he's a useful player. I think the big question is, where's he going to play? He's played so many different positions. It's where is he actually going to play? Because you don't. I may correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't really play wingers, do you? You play wing back. So for me, he's either going to play right wing back or left wing back. I don't see him playing anywhere else.
Denise, that's what we're talking about right now. How is the new signing? We're gonna. I mean, he's not gonna bench Macca. He didn't. Goddamn guy rolled his card. Played him the next day.
Well, Macca might bench himself.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same.
One more yellow card, and he's out for 2. So
yeah.
So, and on that note, too, and we got a couple minutes left here. No, not to drag it off. When I was talking to Park, he really rated Ravon, but he doesn't fucking play him. He told me this summer he really likes him, but he doesn't play him ever. He never plays him. It drives me nuts. So my concern is, I think Techie, you said this on Rexer Time the other day. If he goes down, or maybe it was Patty, I'm not sure. If he goes down, is he going to be ring rusted and not be able to get on Ravon to go in to actually do a job? Because Mac is going to get the yellow card. He's going to get 10 and be off for 2 for sure. 100% it's coming. So, does he not rate Ravon either?
I think Ravon, and I think he's had a couple of opportunities, but I think Ravon's paying the price for turning that ball over in extra time where he could have held the ball in the corner. Just for an extra 20 seconds. And that's 2 points we never get back. I have a feeling he's paying a little bit of the price for that.
I think he's defensively suspect for Parky. That's probably why. I think that's been his thing throughout his career, that he's good going that way, not so great going that way. And I think that's kind of a basic no-no for Parky by the sounds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been taken in a long contract, so he better be working on it in training then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Agree, Patty.
It's such a small sample size. Matt says we need to transition Mac and Ravon for the rest of the season. Tess, yes, I do agree with you that. Paul Kelly says Rev needs to really lacks in defensive skills compared to Macca. He's a winger. I don't think he's a wing back, in my opinion. He's a winger, just my opinion. But we went at it for like 90 minutes. We didn't have a game today, but I think things went well. But I'm glad we all got together. It's been fun. So I really appreciate everyone coming on. We'll wrap it up there, unless anyone else has anything they want to get off their chest other than the O'Connell Fop Mob stats.
Go Birmingham this week.
Yeah, go Birmingham. Let's go Blues.
Yeah. Weird.
Of course they'll fucking lose.
Thanks, we'll win 3-0. You've said that.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't win 3-4. Yeah.
No, we'll win 2-0, have 80% of the ball, and just bore them to death. That's what we'll do.
Well, we have a full. Go ahead. Sorry. Good.
And Marriott to start on Tuesday.
I agree with that. I would love to see it. We have a full game. We have a full schedule on Tuesday. We have a build-up show. Ken and Patty are going to be doing that. Live watch along with me, and I'm have one eye on John Merrill's team, Birmingham City, because we have the stats going up. I don't know if everyone likes the carousel stats. Awesome. We will have live scores going at the same time too, and then we have Rexer Time and then Rexer Reaction on that too. So fun thing. Techie, tell us about Eat More Chips. What's coming up with you guys?
We are just doing our usual nonsense of talking nonsense, to be honest with you. Well, we are heading towards our 100th episode soon, and for our 100th episode, Josh, you will be kindly joining us with Sean from the Red Horde and Adrian and Rousey from the Two Beards, all at the same time on one podcast. First time it's ever happened that 3 international fan groups plus the UK fan group have all got together. So that will be absolutely great. And the other thing, because it's the 100th, because normally we only do an audio podcast, it will be a video podcast as well. So you'll be able to see all of us in all our horrendous glory. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation, Josh, between you, Sean, and how on earth we're going to get Adrian and Rousey to not swear like troopers. I do not know, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun trying.
Words of warning: you gotta watch Rousey, because he has been known to hit the bong on live.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not. The thing is, it's not live. We're going to record it, so
so you can edit him out. You're good.
I'm not brave enough to go completely live.
He can just say he's in California where it's legal.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows what we do here on Local Pundit. Shoot the rehearsal. So that's whatever happens. Yeah. Shoot the rehearsal. Awesome. No, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm a guest on that one too, for sure. That's awesome. Thank you very much. That's awesome. And we will do more of this too. I mean, we have Patty and John and Ken and Patty. And Aaron and Techie. It's fun. And obviously Matt's at the chat and everybody too. We try to. it's a great group of people, and it doesn't happen to other fan bases too, where everyone can come together and just have a chat, which is awesome, and keeping it positive, keeping it fun, and having a little dig at each other. So it's really, really good. John, what do you got going on your end? Do you have a podcast, or are you just
No.
You are a local Birmingham guy for now. You're gonna local Birmingham. You and the Kendit.
You can say that. Yeah. No. I've got on a Huddersfield preview show, and I've got a Rotherham preview show I'm on, and I usually hang out with Benjamin Bloom's show behind his Patreon. So I do bits and pieces, but nothing myself.
Okay. Well, you should. It's awesome. We're always welcome here, as you know. And Patty, Aaron, you guys, obviously, you guys on the Sunday session tomorrow, or what's going on? I don't know if you guys anything burning on that one too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Sunday
forgot about that. Yeah, I should be. I should be good.
Yeah.
That's what we'll go over to the other channel.
Just before you disappear, because I know we don't mention it a lot today. Wrexham Academy were in a friendly against the Rovers, and we beat them 2-1 today.
Nice.
So well done to the Academy under 18s. So well done to them. And don't forget, Wrexham women are playing tomorrow versus Cardiff Met women. Kick-off 2 p.m. I think the Red Horde does a live watch along, but also it's on iFollow. You can get it on iFollow, and it doesn't cost you anything. So if you are a bit bored and you're up early in the morning, wherever you are, or late at night, tune in to watch the women, because Cardiff Met are rubbish, absolute crap. So we should absolutely smash them. So watch that.
I hope we do. And on that note, one of our guys, Bruce McFarland, does a great teletext too, and I'm trying to get him to do a watch along for it. He does that in our Discord. So this is a dare, Bruce. Come on, do a live watch along for the women. Don't have to do tomorrow, but awesome, dude. We'll go support that too. But awesome,
yes,
great stuff.
Blackburn Rovers, Brian. Sorry, Blackburn Rovers. I had a brain part. Yes, Blackburn Rovers. It was Blackburn Rovers under 21s, and we beat them 2-1. So well done, the Academy. Well played.
Well done to all of you guys. This has been fantastic, and happy birthday, Ken. Happy birthday, brother. Good to see you. You don't turn 69 every year. So good for you.
Will I make it to 69? Who knows?
All these legends. Everyone, please give a shout out to all of them. And it's a great group of lads and gals in here. So awesome. And on that bombshell, my friends, we'll see y'all soon.